Claudio.
Episode 33. It's Henry Burgoyne. How are you, my friend?
Very well, thanks. How are you?
Mate, very, very well. All the better talking to you. So, mate, say hello to Matt LaHood. Say hello to Clinton from the Mentors.
Hey, guys, how are we?
Great. Henry, yourself?
Very well, thank you. Very well.
Wonderful.
So let's give the other mentors a little bit of a background. I don't know if you see Henry. I know you're not big on Facebook, Matty, but I know you're really huge on LinkedIn. But Henry has probably got more followers than you, me, the agency put together on social media.
How good's that?
So can you do us a favour? Can you just make sure you share this when it comes out? Get the word out there of the mentors. Would you be happy to do that for us?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, my friend. So tell some of the listeners and viewers that are seeing this today and listening, give us a little bit of a bio, Henry, how old you are, how long you've been in real estate, where's your market, how's your market going, etc.
Yep. So, live on the Central Coast. I've actually only lived here for just over 11 years now. Went straight into real estate straight after I finished year 12. So, I've been in the industry for just over 4 years now. Had my biggest trading month last month with 5 deals unconditional.
Okay, hang on. We've got to give you some love for that. 1, 2, 3. Give him some love.
Yeah.
Best month ever. Woo! Some are having their worst month ever. You're having the best. That's good news. We love positivity on the mentors. Go on.
Current market up here is a little strange. It's having some great results across the whole market. Getting some top quality sales now offers, for example, within 1 day of them hitting the market and selling prime waterfront reserve properties in such a short time frame.
Yep.
The only battle we've got at the moment is there are a few less buyers out there, but proven with the right strategy in place, it's yielding results.
Wow.
That's what it is at the moment up here on the coast.
Okay, so what's your average sale price where you are, and what part of the Central Coast? Because Central Coast is quite big and broad, but what market in actual Central Coast do you in, or you sell in? What's your farm area? I suppose I'm trying to ask you.
So my farm area is a suburb that I actually live and reside in, called Canmore. It's got about 1,600 homes,
Perfect.
and your average house is around the 500 mark at the moment for a renovated 3-bedroom property. But they do go up from there for your more substantial family homes. I actually looked at it yesterday, and the suburb record is in the early 800s for a fully renovated 5-bedroom property.
Right. Okay.
What's the nearest suburb to that? Is it near Terrigal? Is it closer to Avoca?
It's in the northern parts up near Wyong and Oregon.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
Matty knows the race course out there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. As soon as you said Wyong, he just lit up. His eyes
knew
lit
exactly where you were.
You didn't see, but I just saw his eyes like, oh, yeah, I know that really well. Okay, cool. Beautiful. So, Henry, here on the Mentors, it's all about, you asking us the pressing question, and hopefully between Clinton, Matt, and myself, we can, probably give you some sort of direction. It won't be the right answer. We're not all perfect, but we'll do our best.
Yeah.
So, hit us up, my friend.
So with our current market at the moment, we're starting to get a lot more people coming onto the market to do the typical test the market and see where their properties sit.
Yep.
The question I've got for the mentors today is, how do you guys characterise your A-grade vendors to make sure that we're dealing with those top-of-mind, front-of-mind people and dealing with the most motivated clients that we can, to make sure that we're dealing with those highly motivated people, and dealing with kind of more premium clients?
Yep, great question. Matty, I'm going to throw this one over to you.
It's pretty. That's a real simple one for you, Henry. You've got to You've got to look at the dominant selling motive. So what you have to do is, I call it the DSM. You've got to ask, and it's like being a doctor. You've got to diagnose before you prescribe, right? So questions. First thing, when I'd be sitting down with all your A-grade clients or trying to work out whether they're
if they're an A-grade, is it worth taking on?
First thing I'd be doing is asking why they're selling.
Yep.
Now, if they're saying to you, I want to test the market and see that, what you should be doing is say, look, this is probably not the market to test the market. I'd be saying to them, what I'd be doing is I'd stay off the market. And if I think if you want, 700,000, I think it's worth 550. If I've got a buyer that I think can pay 700, I'm going to knock on your door, so stand by. And if I don't, I won't be knocking, right? And then if you've got an owner who says, look, I'm moving to Sydney, I need to get out of here in 4 weeks, well, that's an A-grader, yeah?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, for example, one of my A-grades at the moment is they've done the typical buy and go unconditional on a property before they've even listed their own.
Yep.
They've at least got the backing where they own their current house that they still live in outright. So they've got no motivation with having bridging or relocation finance in place. However, they've still got that motivation because they're about to have 2 properties worth of rates, water, bills and general living day-to-day expenses. So they're the kind of clients that we're wanting to deal with. Like, to give you guys an overview, our office at the moment has over 100 listings on the books at the moment. So
wow.
For us, we're kind of looking at it holistically and going, we look at it on a week-to-week at our sales meeting, and each individual agent goes, these are my top 5 sellers at the moment, and this is their circumstances on why they need to sell. This is their target price. Let's go through all of our buyers as a team. And that's what we're actually starting to do now, is kind of make it not so much, these are my listings, they're yours, you're not allowed to sell mine. It's a case of these are all of our listings together. Who has the right buyer for the current situation?
Yeah.
Well, that should be the standard for good from today. It shouldn't be just because it's the market we're in. You should
Absolutely.
be doing that in any market, boom, bust, because that's what the vendor expects, right?
Yeah, I agree.
The reality of it, Henry, is 2 things. One is sometimes with a vendor like that, the one you've got, I would be saying to them, you got to look at what's best for them, not what's best for you. You want to make a sale and get a commission, that's fine. But if you could say to that owner, what I'd be saying to that owner is, look, why don't we stick a tenant? If you don't have to sell the other property, you're better off keeping it. Let's stick a tenant in it and let's talk about it in 12 months when the market clicks back up a gear. And, mate, that builds more loyalty than you trying to get a price reduction to sell it.
Absolutely.
So
and it's the right thing for the vendor.
Totally. I think, Henry, it's right now in this market, the guys, and I've been mentioning it, you got to work out how to play the game to win, because if you don't understand how to play the game to win, you're going to actually lose in this market, right? And it was really interesting. On Monday, I was with a client, and we were going to. He had 15 listings. We went through. The only ones that were sellable were 5 out of the 15. The 10 of them, one of them, off market, not aligned on price, no motivation, etc. So I think what's got to be clear, Henry, in the beginning, is knowing what does an A-grade client look like for you, right? And I would actually write what are the top 10 qualities. So for me, I would write things like they're cooperative, they're friendly, they listen, they understand the market, vendor paid advertising, they're motivated, right? They bought something else, right? So all of these things, once you start to work out what would be the top 10 qualities of an A-grade client, it's really easy for you to know, are they a fit or they're not? Do you know what I'm saying?
That's it.
Because the 2 worst decisions you can ever make in your life, right, is based around fear and based around money. So what I mean by fear is, oh my God, if I don't tell them what they want, and I just list it, I'll lose the listing and that other agency will pick it up. That's called fear, right? Money is also going, if I don't get this listing and I lose it, there's $20,000 commission, which I'll miss out on. So 2 things are going to happen when you make those decisions. It's always the worst decision you ever make around fear of money.
Totally.
You never had the listing, and they'll never motivate. They're going to make you 20 grand anyway. So by the time you start getting absolutely clear who you want to work with, right? You make the decision of who you want to work with. It never comes around fear of money. You get good clients and you start moving property, right? So when I had this client from 15 listings and we brought it down to 5, only that he had to sell, I said, focus on them and eliminate the rest.
He'll double his business.
Yeah. Either you go back and have a really good candid conversation going, this is what we need to do to get your home sold. And if they're not listening, they're not cooperative, they're not friendly, they're not motivated to sell, cut them loose. But you know what most agents want to do? Oh, Claudia, but if I let them go, the other agent down the road will pick them up, right? And that's fear.
So Henry, I went to
That's it.
I went to a listing presentation for an old client of mine last week, and I've had this client for 20 years.
Yep.
Anyway, I took one of my agents with me because I'm not selling day to day anymore, but they wanted me to go down. So I went with them, and they said, look, we'd really like to get 1.2 million for this apartment. And all the evidence and everything. Now, this is a really good client of mine, okay? So all the evidence and everything pointed it to about 950 to a mil, right? So I've got two options here. I can say, look, 950 to a mil, let's put it up for auction, see what happens. Because, the things are still selling and clearance rates around 60% in your area. Or I could have the hard conversation. So, look, I said to them this. I said, what we're going to do is this. I said, it's worth probably 950 to a million. So there's two options. We can go hard and get as much above that as we can right now. Or what we can do is we can give you a buzz when it hits 1 to 1.2, and that could be in probably a year, 6 months, could be 12 months, could be 2 years, could be whatever it may be. So you've got two options. Which one do you want to do? And they said, we really want to get the money now. So we've listed it with a reserve of $1 million.
Perfect. And that's what that's what you've got to do at the moment, is you've actually truly got to assess what their true desires are.
But I think the dialogue there was what we can do. You've got to the dialogue that made them think about it was, look, this probably, I said to them, this is probably a $1.2 million property, but not right now. So why don't we wait? When it gets to 1.2, I'll call you. Now it could be 6 months, 12 months, 2 years. But right now it's probably 950. So they said, okay, do you reckon you can get us $1 million? So they just dropped $200,000 and I haven't done an open yet.
That's it. And see, that's what we're even starting to do up here on the coast is we're getting called out to do our sales appraisal as per normal, but they're also saying, can you either bring a property manager or have a chat to them and see what it's worth rental?
That's what you need to do.
So they've at least got both options. And that's what I've even started to do automatically is have a look at it and go, right, what's the best way moving forward? And is it a case that there's a few clients that I've said now is not the right time for you guys to sell, because if you want to get this price, this is what you need to do, and this is how long that you need to sit here roughly to achieve that. I said, we don't necessarily have the real estate crystal ball that everyone talks about, but from our experience, this is what the process is, and this is how long it's roughly going to take for it to start to swing back around and improve again.
Well, you know what's really good? I don't know if you've seen it. Those valuers have just recently brought out the property clock. Todd Hiram White, they're the national valuers, and evidence-based, where they've got the property clock sitting Sydney at the moment on a declining market. We've actually got 2 more cycles to go, they say. One is entering the bottom of the market and then the bottom of the market. So I suppose when you show evidence and that report on the clock, which it actually stipulates to the potential vendor saying, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, where do you want to get off at? Like at the moment we're here, and if we keep waiting, we're going to drop down to here. And the next sort of 6 to 12 months could be another 5 or 10% going. People think things have stabilized now, but I reckon there's going to be another dip of about another 5 or 10% over the next sort of 12 months.
Yep.
And if you look at this property clock, just Google Todd Hiram White property clock. You'll find the latest one that came out from March. And that's what they're saying where Sydney and Melbourne is at the moment. So, but if you show that to the vendor, Henry, and show where do you want to get off at, guess what happens? It's evidence-based. It's you demonstrating, but it's coming from a third party, not so much yourself either.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's what can help you get there across the line as well. So, yeah. So, mate, I think, what Maddie's saying and, what I've said is basically just, working with A-grade clients is super, super important. Anything that you would add, Clinton, out there for yourself?
Absolutely. So I think a lot of the work that we do, even though it's not real estate based, is I think translatable into trying to build a business and working with the right people.
Yep.
And I think A-grade clients in my mind are ones that have a good relationship with, you have a good feeling from, they listen to you, you respect each other.
Yes.
And also when it comes down to the crunch, if you give honest advice, they'll run with it.
Yep.
Because they trust you.
Correct.
So I think that's just a general relationship and business building model to approach and go with. At the same time too, like you might have to work really hard to get somebody on board in the business, but ultimately once they've got you, they're an A-grade client if they just let you run and do your thing and do what you do best.
Absolutely. There's a great one that I remember, going back, a dentist up in Brisbane, and he decided just to work with A-grade clients. He said, he had all these people that weren't showing up at appointments for him. They were paying their invoice late for his dental work, etc. And he just sort of said, you know what? I'm making the decision that I'm just going to work with this type of client. And he made a list of how they wanted it to work. And basically said, if you're going to work with me, I see you twice a year. You come in and I assess you and I do this. And he worked out you turn up at your appointments, etc. And some people didn't like it. And he said, well, that's fine. There's a dentist down the road that if you want to work with them, he's happy to work that type of way. But this is the way I work.
Send him packing.
Right? Yeah. So I think the more clarity you get, the more confident you are. And you get confident about just working with who you want to work with, and not having the bits where you're carrying baggage all the time, and
so I think
people giving you stress, and
you got to back yourself and value yourself first and foremost to be able to define that and know that you're good enough to be able to demand
absolutely
a certain exchange for the value that you're giving as well.
100%. So Henry, have we answered your question here on the Mentors on episode 33?
Absolutely, you have.
Clinton, like I said, episode 33.
As Coach Claudio would say, okay.
He's Forrest Gump. Love it. Thanks, Forrest, for being on the show today. All right, mate.
Thanks for your time.
You have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for joining us here on the Mentors. Great question. And we'll catch you next time on the other side of the Mentors.
Got something great from this episode? It would mean the world to us if you passed it on. Tune in each week as we mentor a new agent. Have a question? Want to be on the show? Get in touch with Claudio Encina, Matt LaHood, or visit our Facebook page. The Mentors is brought to you by Sprinkler.media.